He needs surgery in the next 10 days.
Felt the shooting pain in my knee.
Oh, I don't know what I did, but I did something. I stepped off to the side again and it buckled.
Known for groundbreaking research, teaching, and medical care.
Considering he's trained to find explosive odor, what should we be doing right now?
We should probably be running.
We should probably run, yes, that's not our job.
The world's first total penis and scrotum transplant.
Welcome to Facebook Live.
How do you communicate with an organization as large as Johns Hopkins Medicine?
On my 37th birthday, without warning, I had come home from a business trip and I was putting Olivia to bed and I went into sudden cardiac arrest.
This is going to be loud.
A major breakthrough.
Researchers at Johns Hopkins.
A groundbreaking surgery right here in Baltimore.
I believe I would be in a wheelchair now if I had not had the operation. You changed the quality of my life so much, I can hardly believe it.
Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
I had been exposed to Dr. King and the whole civil rights movement. I was looking at what was happening at Hopkins, which was not too different from Alabama, to be honest. And so I was getting outspoken about what we should do about black medical students, interns, residents, faculty, and so forth.
He was never afraid to speak out and say things that needed to be said, but that no one else would dare say. And so these were things related to social injustices or just things that he felt the institution ought to be doing to be more welcoming to people from diverse backgrounds. When he got here, shortly after that he joined the admissions committee, and within 4 years, the enrollment of underrepresented minorities in the medical school class increased by 400%.
My brother-in-law, who had been with Dr. King, said, "Levi, this is the time." He said, you know, don't make them too uncomfortable, but this is the time. So that night at the Halstead party, I set out my action agenda.
I think Levi was an innovator in many ways, particularly with the internal defibrillator. When he actually put it into the first patient in 1980. That was a historic occasion because at that time there was a lot of skepticism that this defibrillator was the real thing. And he persevered. They operated on the first patient, was very successful, and that set the stage for millions of patients benefiting from that work.
What are the rewards for a surgeon?
I think the first reward is your ability to impact, along with God, in saving life. And I mean not life down the road, but helping to save life immediately. Because, you know, most of my patients know they are lucky. They are lucky to be here. They know that even before they come. So I enjoy operating on them. I enjoy loving them. And I try to share myself with them and treat them as if they are my family, which they are.
Levi was the conscience of Hopkins, you know, and he kept us all grounded, you know, and he certainly was one to remind us about the spirit and the teachings and ideas of Dr. King. Obviously, that was the reason why in 1982 he was very instrumental in starting the MLK program.
Hopkins, I hope when you see my life, you see tangible evidence of racial progress in America. We've come a long way. It did require struggle. It did require sacrifice.
It didn't just have a Baltimore appeal. It had a national appeal, and many folks out there who had heard about the program wanted to be invited, wanted to come, and wanted to participate. And so I think that that program has done a lot to remind people not just here at Hopkins, but in the city, in the state, and in this country, about the ideals and teachings of Dr. King and what he stood for. And that there's certain things we should not forget, and that we should remember and promote and to continue to grow from.
And I say, I know Dr. King is happy. He's happy because I think he's looked down and saw what we have tried to do at Johns Hopkins. I'm talking about Hopkins' diversity effort. I think he's happy with the progress of his own dream.
He was almost larger than life to just everyone he encountered. He had a way of making everyone feel special. I think he'll always be remembered as a mentor, a role model, and a friend, a real friend.
Thank all of you for coming. But you know what? My heart goes out to my students. Y'all know I've been at Hopkins 43 years. I gave my best.
Having something that's not perfect about you can be a blessing. I think it made me a tougher person. I think it made me less inclined to complain. Hi.
How are you?
Nice to see you.
Great to see you. So I met Mrs. Walton and her husband, and they had been referred to me by another spine surgeon for her complex spinal deformity called scoliosis, which is a curvature of the spine. And she was having a hard time walking around, had back pain, leg pain, and she had a small frame, so I was concerned that the bones in her spine would be relatively small, which makes the surgery difficult in some ways in terms of placing instrumentation like screws.
I was corkscrewing down, and it was getting really, really hard to function. To stand up, I had to hold my left rib up.
One thing that differentiates Johns Hopkins medicine at Suburban Hospital is that we have Hopkins level care in a community setting. And we had amazing technology that let us do what we did for Mrs. Walton. We're in one of the operating rooms here at Suburban Hospital, and you can see here we have a table that we would use for a case like Mrs. Walton's. What do I think about? What do I worry about in a case like this? And every case has a different critical point, so her bones especially are very tiny. And the screws are about 5 to 7 millimeters in diameter, and the bones can sometimes be only 4 to 6 millimeters in diameter. So the reason we want to have an intraoperative guidance system or a GPS like the one we have here is that it helps us place all of the screws, instrumentation, and other elements into the spine in the exact right location.
I believe I would be in a wheelchair now if I had not had the operation. You changed the quality of my life so much, I can hardly believe it.
Mrs. Walton recovered quite well after the surgery. By 3 months after the surgery, she was back to most of her activities of daily living. She was driving and she was walking better than she was before the surgery. It's amazing that I get to do what I get to do. I feel so fortunate and blessed that patients come to me with their medical problems and such serious problems relating to the spine, and that I am able to go in there and use these technologies, work with this wonderful team at Suburban Hospital, and be able to help them get better.
Okay, I framed my before and after pictures because it's such a miracle what happened. I couldn't be more pleased with the whole process from beginning to end. And I don't want to forget the opportunity I had that you gave me to change my life and the quality of my life going forward.
Hi, I'm Redonda Miller, and today I'm in the Chevy Chase Auditorium training to be a security officer.
Your last piece of necessary equipment, those are poop bags. So first things first, basic training. We're going to start with a simple heel command.
Okay.
Okay? Say it, mean it, and see how he responds.
Okay, backs, heel. Oh, very good.
Okay, that's close enough for beginners. He's somewhat in a heel there. She did well for a novice to begin with. Some of her moves were crisp.
Let's turn around. How do you say that? Heel, Bax. Heel. Find it. Oh my gosh, the hardest part was trying to understand who was master, Bax or me.
And again, we have to understand that the dog's looking for explosive odor.
Okay, oh, find it. Whoa. Oh, what is it? What did you find?
What did he find?
It doesn't look good.
No, and considering he's trained to find explosive odor, what should we be doing right now?
We should probably be running.
We should probably run, yes, that's not our job.
Oh my gosh, this is out of my comfort zone. That's what I was thinking, yeah. Okay.
But now this is a training environment, so we're going to reward him. Where's your reward?
Well, I don't think a poop bag is going to do it.
No, that's not a reward. So you didn't bring your reward for your dog?
No.
No? Can we get one of those, please? Now you're just going to put that right down and throw it in front of his nose.
Ooh, this is his reward?
That's his reward.
Okay. Okay.
Good boy. Now we run.
I have so much respect, not just for our K-9 unit, but for all of our security team. To think about the stress they're under, and their sole mission is to keep all of our patients and staff safe. It's remarkable.